Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Chad Griggs.
I'm Tate Priest.
And I'm Corey McCaleb.
In this week in sport rivalry, we have the 19th ranked Iowa Hawkeyes versus the 5-6 Nebraska Cornhuskers. And I know Nebraska needs that 6th win to get bowl eligible, and Iowa needs that 10th win to keep a good run going and get a good bowl game. So let's go to Nebraska. Corey?
Yeah, for Nebraska, like you mentioned, they're 5-6, and there's a lot to play for in this game. Big rivalry game. This is Scott Frost's second year on the job. A very underwhelming year last year, so obviously he had a lot to prove this year, and he really hadn't done that so far at 5-6. But for Nebraska in this game, they're going to have to rely on that high-powered offense they have, leading with quarterback Adrian Martinez. He racked up a total of 288 yards of total offense last week. His big receiver, J.D. Spielman, had one heck of a game. He had 104 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns against, I know it was a Maryland team that's been struggling, but it was a good sign for Nebraska to finally get some passing game going between the two of them. And then in the rushing game, they got a two-headed monster at running back, starting with true freshman running back Ramir Johnson, followed by their big boy back, and that would be Dedrick Mills. Dedrick Mills, he was a little bit under the weather last week, but he did manage to play. He rushed for a total of 65 yards and a touchdown, so that gives Nebraska other options in their backfield along with J.D. Spielman at receiver. So for Nebraska, in order to pull off this upset and make it to a bowl game, they're going to have to rely on that offense come Saturday.
Sounds good about Nebraska. What about Iowa, Tate?
Well, Iowa, pretty solid team. Their quarterback, Nick Stanley, his last game against Illinois, he threw for 308 yards. For the season, he's thrown about 60% completion rate, so he's a pretty solid quarterback. With Iowa being so good, their running game has actually not been so good. They've only averaged about 2.6 yards a carry. So for Iowa to win this game, they're going to have to rely on Nick Stanley a lot.
Sounds good. Like Corey said, Nebraska has had an underwhelming season. They came in with much hope, ranked. They thought Scott Frost was going to be take them to where they wanted to, but unfortunately not. But they do need that 6th win, so I do think they're going to play Iowa much harder than what maybe some people might expect. But I still think Iowa's going to pull out a win. Iowa 28, Nebraska 24.
Yeah, for me, like I mentioned, they're 5-6, and that means a lot come this time of the year because everyone wants to extend their season and become bowl eligible. So I think for that reason and that reason only, Nebraska is going to be playing with a little bit more edge to them this week. And I got Nebraska pulling off the upset over Iowa. I'm going to go Nebraska in this one all the way down to the final seconds. I'm going to go 27-24, a last-second field goal win for the Cornhuskers.
Yeah, I share the same opinions. I think Nebraska will probably come out and show out against Iowa, even though Iowa is a pretty solid team. I have Nebraska 24, Iowa 27.
All right, game starts at 1:30. Y'all make sure y'all tune in. See you next time.